So.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Pavel.
Thank you, guys. So first of
Hello,
all,
guys.
Thank you, Pavel, for inviting us. It's great to be here. We did have a delightful trip here, as we are from Bielsko-Biała.
Oh yes, definitely.
Which is like 100 kilometers from here, so it was as close as it gets by. So we are almost part Slovakian in that term.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, all right. So Pavel did already mention about us. We are co-founders of the company, IMGN.PRO. We are first publishers, and then since 2 years ago, we switched to development of the game. It was always our dream come true to develop games. So this was the main idea behind the company.
Exactly.
And so 2 years ago, we thought out that we need a good concept for our first baby. Let's call it like that. And we did brainstorm a lot with Łukasz. And at one time, we thought that we are going to do something from Polish myths, as they are very deep and we have like a strong lore of Polish myths and legends. But it just so happened one night that we were like hiking, and together with Łukasz, we jumped on the story of the Dyatlov Pass incident.
But maybe before we will speak more about it,
yeah.
Let's start with intro.
Yeah, we'll start with the nice intro and then we'll
we will show you the intro to Kholat, and there is a lot of information about the Dyatlov Pass incident, the story that inspired us to create Kholat. So, sorry. Yeah. Here you go.
56 years ago, Russia, the northern Ural Mountains. A group of 9 students of the Ural Polytechnic Institute embarked upon a difficult winter expedition to reach the Otorten mountain. Their journey seemed to progress according to plan. However, on the 7th day of their trip, the weather conditions worsened. They lost their orientation and were forced to set up a camp on the slope of the mountain called Kholat Siakal. It was their last stop. 3 weeks later in Yekaterinburg, when their families received no word of their success, the first rescue expeditions were sent. On February 25, 1959, an abandoned encampment was found. The tent was torn down and covered with snow, with all the group's belongings left inside. Further examination revealed it was cut from inside out. The surrounding footprints indicated the crew had fled the tent. They were barefooted. This suggests a frantic escape, characteristic of people scared out of their wits. 2 sets of prints led to a forested area down the slope. The rescue team found an improvised fireplace and 2 bodies. They were lying in but their underwear, with cuts and scratches to their limbs, suggesting they had tried to climb the tree in panic. What could terrify them so much? The next 3 bodies were found scattered a few hundred meters from the first discovery. One of them had suffered a fractured skull, this despite no evidence of a struggle. It took the spring thaw 2 months later to enable the rescue team to find the rest of the victims. The last 4 skiers were found buried in a thick layer of ice and snow. Their autopsies led to even more bizarre findings. All of the bodies had severe internal injuries caused by an undetermined force, similar to that of a serious car accident. No external damage nor bruises were visible, besides a tongue ripped from one victim's mouth and a strange orange skin color. Much speculation arose from these puzzling events. Such theories included attack from the local tribesmen, from an avalanche, or animals. Each theory, however, only served to create more questions. The truth behind this tragic course of events remains unexplained to this day. What really happened? Maybe the answer still waits to be discovered, deep under the snow.
Okay, so
Right.
let's get back to our main topic when Bartosz stopped.
Yeah. So the idea for the game, as I said, we are brainstorming with Łukasz, and we both heard about the story of Dyatlov Pass incident. For all those who are unfamiliar with the history of this tragic event, in 1950s, a group of students went hiking under the leadership of Dyatlov himself. And after a few days, they have disappeared. And 2 weeks later, all of them were found dead. This story to this day creates many theories as to what really happened. And even as it's a Russian, let's say a Russian story, it's discussed to this day on a worldwide premises. And also it's in Poland, it's a topic that people like to talk about still till this day. So the real event was the hook itself, but we thought how we could approach it. And we didn't want to harvest the story itself for game purposes from a commercial point of view. We wanted to be very...
There is a lot of, documentary movies, a lot of books about it. So at some point we decided that there is no sense in making another, let's call it documentary game. And we thought that maybe we need to just push it in a little bit different direction.
Yeah, so we also needed to be very, very careful, as it's a real history and real people died there. So we needed to stay very respectful towards the story itself. So obviously, what would be a genre that would fit a game such like this? We like to call Kholat an exploration game with elements of horror. So that's what it really is for us, because the story itself is has this horrific thrill to it. So this was that we thought out at the very beginning that this should look like that. So Dyatlov Pass incident was only the base, but Łukasz here, who was the main writer for the game, made a whole backstory, like a fictional backstory for it, so that we remain respectful for the real story itself.
Yeah, just like Bartosz mentioned, we decided to create our own version of this tragic event, based on our own vision of the world. So it's just like here. Our game was inspired by this tragic event, not based on it, because it's not a documentary game. We decided to go into more dark fable direction, because we wanted to create something, with a feeling of a dream, something like a nightmare, not the real feeling or something like that. So that's why we decide to put in our game a lot of unusual things, a lot of paranormal events. But we didn't go into direction of survival horror, something like, I don't know, Silent Hill or Resident Evil. We thought that this would be too much for a story like that, for a real story with real tragedy in it. So that's why we are calling Kholat exploration game with elements of horror, because mostly in our game we are going through the environment, taking a look for some clues to push the story further. And sometimes, from time to time, you need to be careful about what is happening around you, because there is a couple of situations in which the player can die. So it's a difficult game, because you are alone in an open world where you have only the map and the compass, which you need to use in a proper way. There is no, like GPS or something like that showing you where you need to go. So basically, you need to take care of yourself. And there are some kinds of unexpected events, of paranormal activities around you, and you need to also be careful about it. So yeah, that's basically the beginning of our game. Bartosz?
Yeah. We didn't want to pretend like we have the answer for what actually happened there. Like, we thought that that could, be really inappropriate from us. So we wanted to leave, let's say, an open interpretation for the game itself. We, of course, are tackling the issue there. The issue behind, the story is not only what caused the main accident itself, but the story of human nature and about, dark secrets that are among us. And like the point here says, there are many. We have left out at least 3 of the main theories behind the game itself, because after so many years, the truth out there is hard to seek, and our game wants to tackle it.
Yes, exactly. And we decided to let the gamers speak about our game. We are not giving the easy answers, what happened, even in our version of the story. We are giving a clues, and we would like to see gamers speak about what really happened, of course, in our version of the story. And so we created like 3 main theories about the ending. Of course, I'm not going to right now tell you about it because I do not want to spoil it. But there are 3 main theories, and what I can tell you that even we are not sure which one should be right. So they are like equal. So I think that this is something that's some kind of fun for the players, just to try to figure out for yourself what really happened. Maybe not everyone will love it, but definitely we'll love such a storylines where you need to think for yourself. Yeah. So basically, that's it about the storyline and theories. And right now, let's speak a little bit about how we fitted the real story of the Atlas Pass incident into virtual world. Because, like we are mentioning again and again, it's not easy to take a tragic event that happened not so long ago, because it was 1959. So the families of the people that died on the pass, they are still alive. So we need to be really careful how we handled with it, just not to harm the memory of the people that died in 59. So we decided that we do not want to use any real names or any real faces. So we created only description of the situation, but we've done it by our own. We didn't use, we didn't make, copy paste. We write it by ourselves. So the story in our game, it's really similar to the real event, but also at some point it's different. And like I mentioned, there is no real names, there is no real faces in the game. Also, we wanted to make a feeling of, creating the story inside of the story. So that's why we've got a couple of narrators in our game. The first narrator, the main narrator, we can call it, it's an agent who is the part of the rescue group, which was sent to check what really happened with the students. And it's like a base point of view in our game. Another one, it's a journal of the one of the victims. So we have like a point of view from inside of the situation. And there are 2 more, and I do not want to spoil, so I'm not gonna tell you who they are and what they are talking about. But all of this, it's like little pieces. There's exactly 36 pieces of the story in our game, and all of them are connected somehow. And it's only a decision of the player if he wants to know all the connections between them, and if you want to know the full picture of the story in our game.
So as Łukasz mentioned, there aren't real names given in the game, but we wanted the player to immerse into the world that he knows, that he is following the incident itself. So, as you have seen on the trailer, when it ends, the player itself finds himself outside the railway station that we recreated one-to-one. It's from the town called Ivdel in Russia. And we did as big research on it as possible, as we wanted player to feel that the story begins inside a real world, that it's not just a figment of imagination. So we got a lot of good opinions on that, as well as there were a lot of Russian people that are actually living in Ivdel, and they said
they
that
say, oh, I know the train station. It's a real station from our town. And I say, yes, of course. We were trying to do it as close to the real station as possible. But what is important? The game would be absolutely boring if we would make it only, based only on the real locations, because it would be like, half of hour just walking through the snow and that's it. So we decided that we need to mix the real locations with, with basically our imagination. So in Kholat there is a lot of places that are completely our fantasy, like a bone god throne or places like that. But also we used a couple of the real elements, like like rocks or like some buildings and stuff like that, to make it feel real.
Yeah, we'll talk a bit more about that when we will show the graphic design of the game itself.
Okay, so right now we will speak a little bit about graphic design, music, and narration. And just to start it, we will show you our trailer to Kholat. So enjoy.
In the end, the only thing I saw was a flash, an insufferable burning light, the pain ripping apart my body. I felt it tearing out of my soul. After a while, I was nobody, nothing. The light went out and I vanished into overwhelming darkness. I welcomed the end with delight. Coming to me.
A bit of marketing. Right. So graphic design, music and narration, those three ingredients that makes the game be as itself. We'll start with graphic design. At first, we knew that we need to level up regarding this point of this aspect of the game. So we decided, at first, we wanted to do the game on Unity engine, which was very convenient for us. But then we decided that we need to kick it up a notch. And
yes, because, as I mentioned, we want to go into direction of a dark fable. And, well, Unreal Engine, it's really great tool to create such a fable-style environment.
Right. So, as we have discussed a bit earlier on, we did mix, let's say, reality with the fantasy world. The pictures you will see here are our own, let's say, fantasy vision of Ural Mountains. If you check it out yourself, Google it up, the real place that it happened, the Autorten mountain, looks not more than, Beskidi mountains around here. But we thought that, that might be too dull, regardless of, the tragic incident that did happen there. But we wanted to realize this vision that we had in our head, a scary vision, a vision of being lost in such a dreadful place.
Yeah, and we wanted the player to feel from the beginning that something is wrong, that he's not in a real place, just the beginning of our game, it's like a pretty real place, but just, just a little bit further into the level, you already can feel that there is something definitely wrong and that maybe this place isn't what you supposed it's going to be.
Right. So, okay, sure. So, in order not to make, the things too real, like, if you think about mountains, forests, woods, they're a very beautiful scenery, but we knew that the player is going to be in the game for at least a couple of hours. So we wanted to mix it up to use the engine itself to its best possibilities. So we did have a couple of places that really stood out from the rest of it. One place like that is what we call the burned forest. It completely changes the atmosphere of the game. It's out of this world, out of this place. Player that enters there feels that something terrible has happened there, something that shouldn't really happen there.
Yeah, something unnatural. Yeah, and there is a couple of places like that. Like Bartek mentioned, we decided to absolutely change the feeling that player has for most of the game, that he's walking through the mountains, through the forest and stuff like that. But there's a couple of places when you just enter and everything is changed, like burnt forest or caves or a dark forest with a hatch. So yeah, we thought that, okay, from time to time we need to absolutely switch, the atmosphere of the game. So sometimes it's like absolutely like a dreamlike, and sometimes it's absolutely like a horror game, for example, in a burnt forest. Yeah, here's another example of what I just said. It's our huge tree with, you cannot see it right now on the picture, but there is like a, evil force around the tree. So when player is just, approaching that tree, he can just see, okay, what's going on? I just go out from the normal forest, and here I got like a huge tree with some kind of energy field around it. And what I'm doing here, is it a dream or is it a real place? What's going on? Yeah, and there is also some absolutely creepy places, like the old church in the middle of nowhere. It's a ruins of the old church with a cemetery behind it. So it's one of the, like I mentioned, creepy places, typical horror elements in our game. And another important part of Kholat, because graphic design, it's one element. Most of the players, of course, will take a look for a game and they say, okay, it's a really nice graphic design, it's cool, I like it. But another part, it's a narration. And narration is very, very important in our game because there is no real characters in Kholat. There is no NPCs or basically any human beings that you can see around you. So there is only narration. So we have like 4 narrators, and one of them it's Mr. Sean Bean, which you can know from Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings. And all of them needs to really they need to really make a great appearance and they voice acting. We really need to use their voice acting, as they were not shown in any way in a game. You can just hear them. So you can ask, why Sean Bean? Well, the answer is very easy. Because it's our first game, we are unknown development studio, so at some point we decided that we need something strong, you know, to make people interesting in us, to make people interesting in our game, just to gather some attention around us. So of course, yes, probably all of you know who is Sean Bean, so I think it was pretty obvious shot. Of course, at the beginning we created a huge list of very popular actors that we wanted to use in our game, and we were trying to contact with their agents, which wasn't so easy, but we managed. And well, the agents of Sean Bean, they were like the most open people, open-minded people about such a project. And after a couple of months of negotiations and stuff like that, we went to London. And we just made it. So it was absolutely cool. It was great to meet Sean Bean and to invite him to be a part of our project.
Sure. And if any of you are game developers or are thinking about becoming ones, don't ever get scared of trying, you know, to reach out to such people.
Absolutely not.
It's not as scary as it sounds. And those are pretty normal people, like, you know,
yes.
They have an everyday agenda. And sometimes, of course, they have full booked year and they cannot do it. But in our case, you know, Sean Bean was available and he was like, you know, he was very, very, let's say, a friendly person to work with. So at first, when we were going to London and recording him, we thought that, you know, we might have to do our best not to, you know, somehow, let's say, not to offend Mr. Sean Bean in any way with our, let's say, amateurish experience. But as it turned out, everything was very smooth, and Sean Bean himself said that he was very excited to see the performance he made into the game itself.
Yeah, because, you know, at the beginning we thought, okay, what we are going to do, it's just crazy. We're going to hire some famous actor for a lot of money, and probably nobody will be interested in such a small role in our game. So we thought that this is crazy. But right now, after a couple of months from that event, we are sure that, you know, those guys, they're actors. This is their job, and they've got agents, and the contact with those agents, it's really not so difficult, and mostly the huge part of those agents from our list, and there was like 20 names on it, the most of them, they answered for our emails, so it wasn't so difficult. With a couple of them, we managed to speak a little bit, you know, go a little bit deeper into negotiations. And at the end, yes, we've got Sean Bean. So it's not impossible, and it's not so hard even. And all development studios really, if you guys are here, you can try something like that. And to be honest with you, it wasn't even so expensive. Of course, some actors will, you know, just drop absolutely crazy amount of money for such a role, like for example, like in Kholat, but definitely you will be able to find someone for a reasonable amount of money, but with really great name who will help you to promote your game. So it's very important.
But it's not only a marketing tool itself. Like, you know, we knew that our story is narrated, like really narrated. There are no, let's say, real persons that are popping out at you at the game. So it's all about what you hear and what you see. But therefore, we needed strong performances regarding the voiceovers. We managed only to do English voiceovers and Polish, as you know, on our market, it's pretty necessary to have the Polish voiceovers on. We also did hire a pretty well-known Polish actor, Andrzej Chyra, for the equivalent of Sean Bean. So this was one of the things that we knew that has to perform very well, and this is what the narration is about, that you feel immersed into the world, and those actors that we picked, we knew that they can do that. So this was the baseline.
Yeah, like we write here, how to show emotions using only a voice. That was our key intention, you know, to make this feeling, that to build these emotions in the game just through the voice acting. So when we were recording the narration, when we were recording the voices, basically the only thing that we said to the actors, it was, okay, just read carefully your role. Everything is written there, and read it carefully and just play it as you feel it. And that was enough. Every single actor that is in our game really made a great job, and their role are full of emotions. So we are very happy with it.
Yeah, we are 2 weeks after the actual release of the game, which is very close. But we got already like almost over 100 reviews, and in most of them, the reviewers are admitting that 2 of the most important factors from the Kholat are music and the actors itself, among the graphic design. So we know that, you know, regarding the voiceovers and the music itself, which we'll talk about in a bit, are the most important factors.
Everything in Kholat is about building attention, like in the point 3 on the slide. So building attention, we wanted to create an atmosphere similar to this known from Blair Witch Project, not from a Jigsaw. Probably you know both movies.
And not from the game itself, but, the movie.
Yeah, exactly. It was really important for us to make this feeling of that you are alone, that something unnatural is happening around you, but you doesn't have clear answers, and you cannot really see your, let's call it, enemy, but there is no real enemy in Kholat. There are some ghosts that are trying to stop you, but basically it's a decision of the player how to explain their existence in our world. So that was the baseline. Just create a tension similar to, for example, Blair Witch Project.
Yeah, I'm just saying that, you know, there are many horrors out there that aspire to be great, and we did want to avoid any of so-called jump scares. That is pretty easy to do, but there are so many horrors that are using them. We wanted to completely avoid it and rather create a dense atmosphere itself, and to feel, like Łukasz said, to feel player abandoned and to think about what is going on around him rather than to throw random stuff at him, monsters and such on.
Exactly. Another tool that we were using to build tension, and it's a very important part of our gameplay, there are sounds and the music. We didn't want to make a typical, horror-style music with all these ambient elements and stuff like that. So we decided to go more into chill elements and stuff like that. So we asked our composer, Arkadiusz Rejkowski, okay, take a look on the scenery. Here is a story. Read it, and also create something deeply emotional. And after like 1 week, he came to us, and he told us, okay, guys, I've got something like that. What you think about it? And I've got a great idea. Maybe we can hire Mary Elizabeth McGlynn to sing it. Mary Elizabeth McGlynn, maybe you know, she was a singer in the Silent Hills games, and we decided, okay, that's really great idea, because it's a person definitely, you know, connected with games and connected with, you know, great stories like in Silent Hill. So we thought that's really brilliant idea. So let's try to contact her agent. Let's try to hire her. Maybe she can sing a song for a Kholat. And yeah, we made it also. So that was another important step in our promotion and marketing. But also it was something that we really wanted to do, because she's a great person and she's a absolutely great singer. So yes, we have Mary Elizabeth McGlynn in Kholat, and she's singing our song, which is absolutely cool. And the fragment of the song we will present you just in a couple of minutes. Yeah. But before it will happen, just a couple more words about the sounds, because the sounds are also absolutely crucial part of the gameplay of Kholat. Because for the most of the game, you are not scared by some kind of monsters or jump scares and stuff like that, but mostly for your loneliness, for the atmosphere of graphic design, and for sounds. Sounds, it's something that is with you for all game, basically. So we decided to create a lot of sounds that are, you know, let's call it attacking players from different points of the areas that basically you are in at any moment. And there are absolutely different sounds in the forest, absolutely different sounds in the cave, but one crucial element of them, they are haunting. They are very haunting.
Yeah. And we are very lucky to work with Arkadiusz Rejkowski, our composer, as Łukasz said. He also did some stuff for the Vanishing of Ethan Carter, if you know that. It's another Polish game. It's also out here. The guys from 11-Bit Studios are here on a lecture tomorrow, so they are worth checking out as well, as they've got great minds. But Arkadiusz, we were lucky to work with him. He really, it's not easy to explain a person when you want to transfer your ideas regarding music, as you know, it's an abstract idea. So when we approached Arkadiusz, we could only describe in words what we want to achieve. But in his own mind, he created a vision that was such a perfect match for what we wanted to do.
Exactly.
And also the soundtrack is getting a lot of good reviews, and it's all thanks to Arkadiusz. So yeah, we are very lucky to do that.
Yeah. So guys, basically, we believe that when you are creating a game, when you are creating your first project, there's a couple of key things that you need to remember about. You need to remember about the quality, because if you are an indie developer and you are making your first project, you need to really take care for a quality, because everyone will, you know, just point a finger at you and they will tell you, okay, this is not good, this is not good, this is not good. But with Kholat, we have the confidence that we really created a high-quality graphic design with high-quality music, high-quality sounds, and high-quality narration. And we are really proud of it, and hopefully you will check the game and you can check it for yourself and enjoy it. So I think that's it. Thank you very much. And before the question will start, let's hear absolutely amazing Mary Elizabeth McGlynn in the fragment of the song Farewell from Kholat.
I have faith
Okay.
Right, so that concludes our presentation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having us. If you guys have any questions to ask, well, now it's the time, I guess. So I don't know if Pavel will guide someone, or if there are no questions, that is also fine.
Yeah, if you have a question, just raise your hand and I will get to you.
Thanks. Hi. I just wanted to ask 2 short questions. Did you write the song for Mary, or did she come up with it?
Arkadiusz Rejkowski, our composer, he write the music, and I write the words, and Mary just sing the song. Well,
Okay.
just, she's amazing. So,
And the second question is,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you're able to talk about it, but how much did Sean Bean cost per hour?
Obviously, we cannot put an exact amount here regarding, that we are bounded by the agreement, and their agents would just sue us to death. So we need to avoid that. But really, if you could think about, if you have a general, let's say, knowledge about how much game costs, then let's say that it was just a small piece of what we had to, give out to make the game itself. It wasn't that much expensive. It certainly didn't take like 1/3 of the budget of the game.
Okay, thanks for the answer.
Sure, thanks.
Yeah, there was another question.
Hi, so I have a question. How did you manage to find contact to the managers of the actors?
Okay, I can take that. I think so. Łukasz did it, but yeah, but it's pretty simple. I mean, that answer might disappoint you, but it's out there on the internet. Like, if you Google it up, Sean Bean agent, it will come up. It's their job to be out there. As you know, their client, which is Sean Bean, needs to earn money. So it's in the best interest of the agent to be out there, to be easily reachable. So it just did happen that we were also working with our localization studio, who did have a large network of agents that were well known to them. So it was like a mix of those two things. Yeah.
it wasn't a black magic, really.
Any other question? Last question, maybe? Okay, so okay.
Hi.
Yeah.
I was playing your game. Great atmosphere.
All right, thank you very much.
But why can I jump? Is that because you were afraid of that someone will find some sequence breaks or glitches?
No, really. That was point of the design of the game, because we've created an open world, but from time to time we need to just to show the player that he cannot go everywhere from every single point. So there are some paths that you can for example go out from somewhere, but you cannot go in there. So that's the reason why there is no jump. But if you need to jump, there are some places when you need to, let's call it jump, you just need to use your sprint and run really fast, and the main character will just jump through the...
Oh, so it's automated?
Yes, something like that.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
That's right.
So anyone have a question? Okay, guys.
Okay. Just saying thank you for having us once again. And we've got I think we brought some samples with us of the box version itself and the t-shirts as well. They are very limited. So, but if you want to come up and, have a couple of words with us, you are more than invited to.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks.